Mhm.
Can you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you do and yourself.
So my name is Grunge Caramel, aka Rose, which my friends call me. I am a local model in Bakersfield in LA. I mostly do alternative brands and also do some one ways and magazines, anything like comes my way. I like just doing modeling. It's like one of my passions. I got into it 2 years ago, and ever since then, it's just been a keystone in my life.
Was it something like where like at the mall you signed up for it, or just someone asked you? How was the process of getting started?
So basically what happened was I saw someone doing those little ones where you do the walks, for a brand. And basically, I saw the girl do it and I was like, wow, that looks so cool. How did you get into it? How could I get into it? And she's like, well, if you can make it out here, I'll put you on the guest list. So I just did that. And in the moment, it is frightening. People think I don't have stage fright. I have a lot of stage fright. It's always feels like my heart is pounding. But after you get a adrenaline rush where you're just like, you feel like you're on top of the world, you feel like your ego is on cloud nine, and it's the most amazing feeling someone could ever get. And ever since then, I never want to let that feeling go.
And you get that feeling every time you go up?
Every time, even when like pictures come out and I see my pictures getting a lot of love on Instagram or you guys repost it on my stories, it just makes me so happy and it makes me want to keep doing it and keep promoting it and hopefully get a big platform and promote other things too that helps the community.
Oh, that's what's up. I do stand up comedy, and I recently and I always still feel nervous.
Hmm.
Usually starts in the morning. I get up, I work on my jokes, make sure I got my list going. I practice, and I feel comfortable, and I
Hmm.
will purposely take a nap so there's less time of that feeling.
Hmm.
So then when I wake up around like 3 or 4, I'm nervous again. When I get to the venue, I'm nervous again. But then once like I see that people are coming in and the lights are changing, like something happens and it just like switches, and I just get super confident.
Hmm.
Just believe in my material and believe that I can make these people laugh.
Hmm.
But to this day, I get that empty stomach, just heavy feeling,
Hmm.
and then it goes away, and then people laugh, and then you're like, okay, that's why I got into this. I really like that part. Do you have any like superstitions about before you go up?
No, I try to keep it just a good mindset. I feel like a good mindset just really brings it out. I like listening to confident music before like I go up. That really helps me. Surprisingly, I do like Megan Thee Stallion. Like that's one of my favorite artists to listen to before going up. And I listen to all different types of music. I don't only listen to my superstition, not the superstition. Um, People always think I would listen to like metal or goth and stuff like that, which I do really enjoy, but it's not my only ones I listen to. And I think it shocks people that it's not the only thing I listen to.
Yeah, I think people think because you live a certain lifestyle that's like everything. So yeah, it
Yeah.
probably would be surprising, but it shouldn't be because people like all kinds of stuff.
Hmm.
Things are catchy sometimes. Um, when you say like empowering, you mean empowering? I mean, you mentioned it's Meg the Stallion, so is it
Hmm.
just like women's kind of empowering?
Just something where it makes you feel like you're gonna go up on that stage and you're gonna like do what you came there to do. You're going to show confidence. You're going to show that like you got this. You're not going to show any fear or like uncertainty. You just want to make it seem where you look perfect in a way. Obviously, perfection is not something that is able to attain, but you could definitely like fake it till you make it.
That is true. I think in entertainment, we all kind of learn to fake it till we make it. We believe in our talent, but we're still like honing in our skills and kind of like what people want.
Mhm.
And then the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. I'm pretty sure like now at this point, you kind of know why they're asking you to angle yourself a certain way for a picture. Like you have an understanding of all those things. Do you primarily work with a specific photographer?
I work with all different types of photographers. Yeah, just all different types. I love working with any new photographers. Just anyone that comes my way that wants to work with me and they have good work on their portfolio, I am always open to work with them. The only thing I dislike in photographers are the ones that aren't really photographers. They use their camera to sadly be perverted to women. And it is sometimes a big issue in the community when it comes to modeling and shooting, where people are trying to be inappropriate to the models that came there to do their job.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. That's so how do you filter that? By looking at their portfolios or well, I mean, I guess they still
Well,
would have a portfolio.
yeah, but you could also tell some like only do very, very lewd like works, and which sometimes that is just the thing they do,
Mhm.
which isn't always bad, but there's certain times where you could see it's amateur and just that, which is a red flag.
Damn.
And the way they talk to you, you could tell if it's unprofessional. You can also tell certain things they say, it's suggestive. A lot of people would say something that is suggesting something, and I don't tolerate that when it comes to my modeling. I don't do any new photography and I don't do any like works like that.
Yeah, I could see that. Because I even like I do photography and I've met people who have told me like well many things like photographers infidelities and then also like women kind of feeling uncomfortable. Um, that's kind of why same thing with the podcast. I always tell people if they want to bring somebody because like it is my apartment. I am a dude, and then like I learned my lesson from these two girls who they came over. They do a podcast called "Not Your Final Girl."
Hmm.
They no longer do it, but it was really into like horror movies, and then like the "Not Your Final Girl" is a reference to cinema where it's the last female in the horror movie,
Hmm.
and so I thought that was cool. I like zombie movies and like scary movies and all that, and so I was like, oh yeah, come over, and then they showed up, and I was like, come on in, and I started walking this way, and then like I don't know where they go. And then I go and I look down the hall and then they're just like standing at the end of the hall, like almost like a scary movie. Like they didn't know what to do. And in my mind, I was being so like not thinking about it that I was just
Hmm.
like this way. And then I was like, and then it just dawned on me like, oh, they're in like a stranger's house. I don't have the brightest lights in the hallway. And then like, I'm inviting them into like a room. And so I was just like, oh, fuck, I didn't even think about how creepy this looks. And so then after that, I made it a point to like let people know to bring somebody with them if they want to bring them. I try to turn on the lights. And then if my roommate's here, it kind of helps too. Because definitely like that is the world we live in,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And they probably seen too many scary movies. So
That part, right? They're hella paranoid. They ended up being pretty cool. I like them. They were on season one, and unfortunately, they don't do their podcast anymore. One of them still does like where she does like reviews and stuff, but I don't think the other girl doesn't do anything at all. I don't know what happened to her. It's like instant, people disappear. How did you get into the whole like I guess your look?
well, my look is called goth. I also do alternative looks too. So mainly goth, but also I lean into the alternative world. Um, I I basically got into it because of the music, the fashion is what started it, but it's also about like community and the politics and being on the right side of things, speaking out for injustice, speaking out towards people that um are just bad people, like, racist, fascism, just stuff like that. Um, so yeah, we have a lot of good mindsets, and a lot of our community are really big on going to homeless shelter, helping people, protesting things that are not right in the world, where you can see these days, talking out about things that people probably don't have a voice for, and just doing good things in the community. It's not just fashion and music, and it's okay if you get into it because of that. But just know that our beliefs are just to help those and express ourselves while we're doing it. And it's more of a expression and helping the community.
I had no idea. That is wild. I really just kind of thought like the music scene, the way well, I never met you, but the way you came to my attention was like downtown, I think like at Jerry's or something. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? And then I just had never seen someone present themselves that way, and I was like, for me, it was just like seeing. Obviously, you're younger than me, and I was like, man, that's crazy that like someone could be so bold. And then, um, probably sometime after that, I started seeing a lot of young kids around Jerry's because I had an office downtown, so I'd go get a beer and walk around, and man, I would see a lot of these people where like the makeup was getting wild, where it's like not only just like painting their face or eyeliner or maybe a little bit of makeup, man, they were going like full effects, like movie effects. Like it was like blood and like looked like gunshots. And I was just, and not everybody, but there was these couple here and there. And I would be like,
Mm.
what the fuck is this? I've never seen this before. This is wild. I've heard of like goth, I've heard of punk, I've heard of like maybe even like the metal scene, like
Mm.
Norwegian metal scene. They're pretty crazy, but
Yeah.
like never seen like yourself or some of the other people like in person. I think it was stuff that maybe like I just saw in like a movie or something. Like so, I was like, whoa, that's wild. Um,
And I wanted to just bring out, like you said before in your earlier podcast, that this is an everyday thing. You have seen me in just regular days where I'm just do this. It's not a costume. It's not just something I go to events. This is just something I do for myself that makes me feel good. So I just wanted to put that in there. I love letting people know this is just something for myself.
yeah, and that's pretty wild. Um, so like, I mean, can you go to work like this too?
Well, I mainly do modeling,
Really?
so
Okay.
that's my main income. So yeah, I go to work like this. This is how I make most of my money.
Um, that's pretty wild. So do you kind of like or you don't mind like the people just going like what the fuck?
I get a lot of people saying kiss, which is kind of annoying because it's something you get a lot as a goth person. I'm not the only one. Or people just ignorant about it.
Yeah,
Some
probably.
people just, a lot of people I've met just around town in LA would be like, "Oh my goodness, your makeup's so pretty," and I enjoy those people, love those comments. But if you're ever just curious, just ask someone, "Why do you do that? What is that?" I'd rather you ask than just assuming something that's not 100% true.
Yeah, I think for me it's like um I'll probably just be nervous to talk to somebody because I don't want them to think like that I think they're different, I guess.
Hmm.
I just more like just admire like, oh look, they enjoy being different. Like and the fact that people would say like I'm probably someone that would say something. I think in the podcast I kept saying punk,
Hmm.
and it's just like wasn't like I was, and like I didn't know, I don't have a vocabulary to like say like what exactly it is. I can only like get to the closest, and I'm sure with people who say kiss, that's the closest in their mind that they've seen that they could relate to, so they use that. Um, but yeah, definitely there's different music and different aspect of like why they're doing it. And like I couldn't tell you that I ever heard Kiss do anything about politics or any type of like human rights stuff. So the fact that you said that that's also a part of the scene, like I don't think a lot of people know that. I think a lot of people would just think that it's just just the music and then going to the the venue to enjoy it. I don't think a lot of people know that there's it's not just something you do when you go to a venue. It's something that you do like from the beginning of your day to the end of your day.
Hmm.
Um, that is wild. What's the most elaborate makeup you've done, or what would you call it? You
Um,
mind it being called makeup? I guess. What do you prefer?
yeah, you call it makeup. Um, what's the most elaborate one I've done? I've done a few good ones, like some that actually shocked me. My favorite one is when I did white and just the stars just everywhere. Love that one. I did a butterfly one that's over my mouth. That was cool. A lot of people enjoyed that. Lately I've been just doing more simple looks like this where it's not too much graphic design. But yeah, um, I can't think of anything that I've done like really big right now, but there's definitely ones I've done that shocked a few people. I think the funniest I've ever did was one time I cosplayed from one of my favorite shows and I colored my whole body pink, head to toe. And I mean colored it. Don't like some people wear those bodysuits that have the pink in it,
Yeah.
but I painted my whole body and did my makeup. So that would be the craziest I've ever did. And I went out like that too in public.
I know. So do you put the makeup and then the powder over it so it doesn't smear, or what's the process of like preserving it for as long as you can?
Yeah, so basically I was just on live on TikTok about this too. It is my secret is, and a lot of people ask me this, so um the first layer I'll do with a brush. The second layer is with a little sponge. So the first one you want to make it really smooth so the second one looks super smooth. So after you smooth it out, you're gonna do the sponge and you're gonna make sure that's even. You don't want no splashes or nothing like that. And after you do that, it's really pigmented. And then you just do a powder. I do my liner, sometimes a graphic design, and then my lipstick, and do a little black on the nose, the contour, and a little black here, which is a blush. And my eyebrows, which I'm still working on. I'm not that good at eyebrows yet. I still have my eyebrows. A lot of people do shave them off to make sure they get the perfect look, and those people have my respects because I don't think I could ever do that.
What's the struggle you have with eyebrows? Is it just the congruent? What's the word I'm looking for? Like matching the other one, like the length and thickness.
Evenness is a big part of it. I do it with a liner too. So sometimes the liner, after using it for a minute, it starts breaking into little parts. So it's a lot that goes into like trying to get it perfect. Some days it's just wonderful, and some days it's wow, I hope no one can notice. Hope my bangs are covering them.
What's like your go-to brand?
So sunset makeup, I love for the foundation. It it'll be with me, do sweat, tears, and everything. Um, and then on top of that, I think it's called Hide from Sephora for like the powder. Doesn't budge. Everything else is like small brands or just random brands I see. But yeah,
Is there like a top tier makeup for like what you're looking for?
what do you mean by that?
So like I'll hear people like they'll use a certain type of brand daily, and then if there's like a brand that they're gonna use when they like go to like a wedding, or they do something a little bit more where they're gonna do like pictures or be more in public, they'll use like, I think the expensive brand is, I think, Mac or something
Mhm.
like that. Is there like brands like that, or is it just like what is that makeup? Is it like what you would say someone would be selling at the mall, or is it more like closer to like maybe like makeup like I don't paint my face, but I know I have friends that do clowning, and then they have like a particular makeup that they use when they want to just make their whole face white, and they powder their face so it doesn't smear.
Yeah, well, I use the same makeup all the time with the same brands. Most of it's from online, and like one or two is probably from Sephora. So yeah, there's never a new thing I do with like special occasions, always the same. One thing that I think is cool that I don't do in my makeup routine that a lot of women does do, but it never works for me. Setting spray. I don't use setting spray to set my face. For some reason, it makes my makeup melt off. I have no idea why, but I just don't use setting spray. The only thing I do is setting powder, and it does not budge, as you could tell. I could rub it really hard, and it's not gonna come off. It might make my skin a little white, but it won't fully come off of my face.
Um, I notice a lot in your modeling in on Instagram that I've seen. Um, you have like a, I guess in grunge is the theme kind of like I don't know what to call it, but like kind of like a, I wouldn't say like anti-Catholic, but like it seems to have like crosses, maybe like even like a nun. Um, how did how does that go about? Is that's just a part of it, or is that like a look that you just like?
Okay, so first I'm gonna talk about why I came up with the username because I think this is just the best story. Basically, when I first started socializing with my style, I wasn't able to dress up. I was very in a conservative family and a religious family. So you could, they're not very good on style, you know? So I basically started experiencing when I was 18 about different looks, and I came on Pinterest and there was a style called grunge. I started doing that, and someone would call me Grunge Caramel because I did grunge and my skin is caramel.
Hmm.
So it just stuck with me and it's so unique. Like if you look it up, there's no other grunge caramel. You know, I'm the only one of my name and my basically my brand is myself.
Hmm.
And I think that's really a big part of being a creator is having something unique to you. When it comes to the crosses, it is not anti-religion whatsoever. I respect people's religions, even Christians. I'm very open-minded too. A lot of goth like makeup inspires is by Catholic architecture actually, which why a lot of it is crosses and stuff like that. One thing people do not understand when you see an upside down cross, which a lot of people will see it as demonic, it actually is the cross of Saint Peter, which didn't want to be crucified like
Hmm.
Jesus, so they put him upside down. So that was his belief. So when I wear crosses like that, I am not a Satan worshiper. I am not anything like that. Personally, I am just me, and you know, I don't worship Satan.
Yeah, I think that's like something that is kind of played out and goes back quite a while, right? Even with like rock, it was like considered like satanic, uh, anti-Christian. Um, it had its shock value, I guess, to certain people. And I think nowadays, I mean, Christianity and Catholicism has kind of like departed from each other.
Hmm.
So I mean, if you wanted to scare a Christian, you'd probably want to dress as a Catholic. It'd be something that they'd be like, oh man, that's so anti God because there's Christians now that they don't believe in crosses, they don't believe in some of the doctrines of being a nun or a monk, things like
Hmm.
that. Like it's kind of it's different, definitely different. So,
Yeah.
but I just had the question because I know it seems to be kind of a common thing when it comes to some of the metal and some of the scene. But I also noticed it in some of your pictures, like that you had like a similar what would be like a nun outfit. And then I think I've seen Marilyn Manson. Not sure like him wearing it or like maybe some cover art where they have like the crowns kind of. And one, they look badass. But it's something I've seen. So I think I saw like a few pictures where you had that.
Yeah, and when it comes to crowns, I'm not really big on wearing crowns unless it's just like a little something cute. I do find it very distasteful when people like goths or any other subculture uses like religion and makes fun of it. It's okay to believe what you want, but making fun of someone's religion is just so distasteful to me personally. Everyone has their own opinions and it's okay to disagree. But I saw this post a year ago
Hmm.
and this girl, she is goth. She's a pretty big person. I don't remember her, like what her username was, but she did one where she was on the cross making fun of Jesus and his crucifixion. And people was like, oh, she's so hot. It's so cool. And personally, I just like making fun of someone's religion is just not something I agree with.
Yeah, it's kind of well, I guess for someone who's I have no idea about the scene, I have no idea about like the whole culture, subculture of it, so it's hard to understand. Like my understanding was mostly like movies, and movies are supposed to be entertaining, so they definitely exaggerate certain things. Um, how is the scene out here for? Would you say you more like the metal scene, grunge scene? Um,
The scene out here, I haven't found a lot of goths out here. I probably found one or two that are truly goth and not just doing it for fashion. Sadly, the scene out here, in my own experience, has been very close-minded and very like if you're different or you're not in their clique, they just cut you off, they talk behind your back. And it's so sad because I wish the community was a little more close out here. I've seen so many interviews where the girl will go up and interview them and be like, well, how do you like Bakersfield? A lot of people want to lie and be like, oh, the community is so close. We have so many wonderful people, so many amazing shows for everybody, and everyone gets along. And it's simply just not true. I obviously have my friends out here that I love, and there is people I meet downtown that I absolutely love and are good people. But the community is not perfect whatsoever. And I think being true about that is where you could grow, you know?
yeah.
I have no hate for anyone out here. I love and support everybody, and hope, the community returns the favor, and hope we could be more close as a community, because so far we're a little divided right now.
Um, when you say that there's people out there just using it for fashion, um, I would think in a town this big, even though people think of it as small, it's not that small. It's a pretty big city. Um, that there isn't more people who are into it. I mean, it seems like when I go by Jerry some nights, they have their nights that they have their music, and there's a lot of people with like makeup. But in your experience, there are people that are just doing it for the show. They're not necessarily like going to school like that.
Yeah, well, when it comes to like the scene out here, I would say it's mostly punks when it comes to, like Jerry's, um, other places, which I would not mention only because I have heard awful things about them. Sadly, the punk is a lot of younger kids going into it where they're under 18, which is fine. I think that's wonderful. But sadly, when it's all ages, you get older men, and it's just not a good scene to have people like that around other people that could take advantage, and they're not that strict on some places where they should be. Other than that, I think it's good for young people to get into punk, get into goth, get into whatever they want to get into. I think it's good. I just hope places have more regulation when it comes to making sure those people, especially when you're under 18, are safe and having a good time where they're at without having the fear of anyone being around them.
I'm so taken back, like how I guess I wasn't expecting this personality of like being caring. I guess I was expecting, unfortunately, my bad. I was expecting more of a I don't go fuck, kind of, spitting, smoking, kind of anti, norms and anti social stuff. But it
Yeah.
seems like you're very like caring, very concerned for people. And then you talked about your activism.
Mhm.
Um, I'm really taken back by that. That I'm almost kind of like, man, like I feel kind of I wouldn't say dumb, but definitely like naive or just out of the loop of a whole culture that's assumed is very like I wouldn't say like inappropriate. I'm trying to find a word like just anti-norm. They don't mind again spitting, smoking, cursing, saying fuck it, something along those lines. Kind of breaking stuff,
Mhm.
destroying. But like it sounds like you're very much an activist, not just the stereotype, and that's unfortunate because like how many things like that. One in my life that I'm misunderstanding just because I have no contact with it. I'm just assuming
Mhm.
um, that that I'm just not aware of because I assumed some assumptions. That's pretty wild. So if there's not many other people as yourself or as committed as yourself, um, how is the activism? I guess not everybody has to look the same to be active together.
Yeah.
But so what are some of the causes going on right now in Bakersfield that you guys are kind of rallying or that you're rallying around?
Um, I don't know about Bakersfield per se
Hmm.
because I am not very close to the community anymore. But I would say online in LA, people I have met in LA, which is a bigger scene when it comes to the goth scene. Um, but I would say right now we're mostly like against like the Trump doing all these things to people, going to war, bombing places, just like over territory. It is just sick. It's sad, and a lot of people are speaking out about it. On top of just the government making life unbearable, where the prices are going up. We're more scared about just being bombed. People are in fear. There's fear mongering. Um, and it's good to spread information, but also spread information that is true, factual, and also make sure like people know what's happening in the community and around you. That really helps a lot. But that's, I would say, mostly what people are talking about right now and talking out against. And just also the ICE agents, people, we're on stolen land already. No one should be taken from their family. So we're really against that. and how they're treating people just based on color, which, history do repeat itself. I am Mexican and part black, which I have seen both sides of my family, mostly my black side, and it's just sad that the history continues to repeat itself when it comes to people judging off race and becoming racist, and it's not right. No matter your color, if you're a good person and you belong here, as long as you're not doing any crimes, I have nothing against you. And having anything against someone because of color of their skin is just wrong. It's just sick.
Yeah, I have friends. When I grew up, there was a reservation next to us, and you end up getting a lot of information that, I mean, it just becomes normal information. But then, like, I went off to college, I moved to other places and lived
Mhm.
there for a while, and people had like no concept of like they're still Native Americans, like, and even I remember my Native American friend, he went um he went to Hawaii with his mom. His mom was a paralegal, and the attorney paid for them to go, a whole family to go to Hawaii.
Mhm.
And so they get to Hawaii, and they said people would go up to him and ask to like take pictures, and then he'd be like, "Why you want to take a picture with me?" And they're like, "Well, aren't you like Samoan?" And they're like, "No, I'm Korean." And they're like, "What is that?" And they're like a Native American." And they'll be like, "What's that?" And they're like, "Indians?" And they're like, "Oh, like in the movies, cowboys and Indians?" And then he'd be like, "Yeah." They're like, "That's real?" Like Europeans thought that like they were like, or these particular people thought that like Native Americans were, or First Nation people, whatever you want to call them. They prefer to be called by their tribe, or their band. But um, they thought that they were like stories of fiction, like that's crazy. He took the picture. He said, "Fuck it." Like, he tell everybody we're alive, man. And they stole our land. The Black Hills ain't for sale. And then that's like pretty wild. And then I think even when I was in college, people had like a certain perception of like, well, they got their casinos now. It's like, well, no, not everybody has a casino. And even money has torn them apart, because now they're like telling people you're not native enough.
Mhm.
You're no longer a member, you're a percentage. I think my friend made a good point to tell me one time that Native Americans are the only people by the federal government that that the federal government only recognizes three things by its bloodline:
Mhm.
dogs, horses, and Native Americans. And so that's pretty wild to think that, I could just say I'm Mexican, and then he has to like show his bloodline and his card, and people want him to like vouch for like who he is.
Mhm.
And that's pretty wild. Um, Also, like, people will say like, oh, they live on reservations, and then like, no, if you really know your history and you talk to your friends, and you have friends in there, they're prisoner of war camps. They're not these like suites, or like what Trump wants to build in Gaza and shit. It's fucked up situation. They gave them like the most shittiest fucking resources on land. The things that they even back then were like, I can't use this, you know. And it's pretty sad. I'm
No,
glad that you're active though.
it's actually really. I'm just gonna talk about the Native Americans real quick, but I am a little bit of percentage. I don't really say it because I don't want to be those persons like, oh, I have a percentage in me, and it make their whole personality. Not me, but I have seen a lot of people talk about like Native Americans and their movements, and sadly, it's kind of swept under the rug because there's not a lot of people talking about it. But the government has been trying to go on their lands that they find sacred for generations in their lives and their grandparents and stuff like that, or just burial grounds, and try to dig it up for oil or resources. And they'll try to protest and sign petitions, but sometimes not all of them get, recognized. And it's really sad. And on top of that, not respecting their culture or their religion because it's not of what the government usually is used to. And one big thing I saw on a what was like a news article, this guy, Native Americans hairs are very sacred to
Yes.
them. It's like their story, it's their past. So, it's more like holds memory. I don't know the whole thing, but it's really deep to them. And one guy went into surgery, which it wasn't head surgery, it was a type of surgery, but they cut his hair while he was like asleep. And his family was crying and saying, like, why would you do that to him? And they didn't see a big deal about it. And it was so sad because to them, that's just so disrespectful. And they don't see it like that because, oh, well, why does it matter? Like, and it's just so sad. And I hate seeing things like that.
So I'm not sure what growing it represents. I just know that I had both friends who would keep their hair short. They slick the hair back, keep it short, and then I had other friends that would grow their hair as long as they possibly could, no matter what stress it took for them every morning to like get nice and braided in the morning. Um, but I know that when someone would pass away near like really dear to them, they would cut their hair a certain length, and like the more you cut, the more respect you showed for like the more mourning you were having for that person. How it works throughout every tribe and every spectrum of it, I'm not sure, and how it started. I never gotten that answer. I just know that in my experience, they cut their hair when someone dies, and when I say they, I mean the like Kawia, Torres Martinez, the people that I grew up around, Saboba. They would Morongo, all of them. They would cut their hair to represent like their mourning for the person who passed, like the level of it. And I think like on average, they would try to cut like a foot off.
Yeah.
And so um, it is very sacred and important to them. Um, some of them do grow it because it's just what their preference, and then that's like the culture. But there are other people who like take it very, very serious. And if you were to cut their hair, it's quite humiliating, quite pretty fucked up, pretty fucked up situation. And I've seen the politics affect them, where like I said, like, oh, you're not a card member, so you're not really a native, or even their own tribe telling them that even though you grew up here and your grandma's from here and your grandpa's from here and your friend and family are from here, your relatives all here, we don't recognize you anymore as one of us, and you need permission to even come onto the reservation because you're not recognized as a member. And so that's pretty hard, because I remember just me and my dad would just drive into the reservation and hang out with his friends, but we play horseshoes, and we'd go hunting with my brother with our BB guns. We'd go hunting, and then like everybody else, like you know, didn't go out there because they didn't have any friends like that. And then once the casino came, then that's when you started seeing more of like, oh, what they called enrollment, and then little by little, like kind of not recognizing other people, or even like the conversations of like, do we need to like tighten the qualifications of what it is to be a native from here? Their language dying, people not interested. Like once the money came in, they were more interested in like buying Cadillacs and having jewelry than preserving like their culture. And it wasn't until they got much older that they're like, oh wow, really dropped the ball on this. And they're trying, and all of them have different ways of doing it. But it is crazy to like watch them go through what they're going through, and then like to hear people talk about like land and get the fuck off my land and respect my land. And it's just like, bro, like technically this land don't even belong to you. And it's definitely something that I've thought of, like, when it came to like buying property. And so I've been very anti buying a house. I'm getting older, and I do kind of feel like maybe that was a bad idea, but I still kind of feel like I don't think it's like the right thing to do, because like it's almost like going along with it. Like I'm not gonna go move somewhere else. I'm here, and then it is what it is. But that doesn't mean I have to like participate in it. It doesn't mean that I have to like condone it. I think recently the person who got caught up in it was Billie Eilish. Have you heard this thing?
No, I haven't.
So Billie Eilish made a comment about kind of like the state of politics right now in the Middle East. I want to say she said something about like maybe Palestine or something, and she said, like give them their land back, fucking stop fucking stealing land.
Yeah.
And the tribe that actually claims the land where her mansion is built told her like, you're free to give us our land back. And it's been dead air since.
That makes sense.
And so it's wild that, people feel like, oh, I'm going to say something. But then when it turns on you and you're not the righteous person that you're trying to say, um, went pretty silent.
Yeah. It's kind of like the saying, don't go walks at a glass house.
Here, I sent you my Instagram. I sent you my Instagram for like photography I do.
Okay.
I have wanted to do models, but definitely don't know how to go about it, and don't have the experience to do any type of like professional like a studio. I'm more like taking pictures of people like randomly when I'm walking down the street and stuff. Not necessarily like in your face without your permission though. I know that's kind of like a thing, like just capture someone or put camera in their face. That's like a thing.
Crazy.
To me, it's just like an invasion of space.
Hmm.
Now, I will take a picture randomly if I feel like that. If I feel that it's a good shot, and like maybe someone was like reading a paper or smoking a cigarette, and I want to take a picture, I'll do something like
Hmm.
that. But like to just kind of be like shock or try to get a reaction out of somebody, like nah, don't care for that. I would love to get to a point where I can do like studio with like lighting and stuff like that,
Hmm.
but um I don't think I put in enough time to like actually do something like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any hobbies other than the modeling? I mean, that's your like job, but like, do you have hobbies?
Yeah, I love cooking. I actually really love cooking. I'm vegetarian, so I like cooking a lot of vegetarian meals. I mostly cook from scratch because of my grandma. My grandma taught me how to cook. She's the reason why I love cooking. It brings people together, and a home cooked meal will do you right every time. Which I wish I cooked like way more this week because my stomach hurts. But yeah.
My roommate, um, very, very great cook. She makes some of the best food ever. And
Mm.
then she got during the pandemic, or COVID, I got into like plants,
Yeah, it's a lot of them.
and she got into baking. So she does a lot of like sourdoughs, cakes, cupcakes, cookies. She even makes like cookies for the dogs. Um, wild stuff. And you said your grandma got you into cooking.
Yeah, my grandma's a big part of why I cook. I used to draw, but I kind of don't have time for drawing right now. And then sometimes, like, pick up a good book or something. Um,
What's your like best or what is a recommended vegan meal that you like to make?
Recommend it? That's a hard one. I love a good potato taco. Potato taco, jackfruit taco. That one's pretty good. Um, yeah, I think that's what I would say. My favorite are vegan tacos, so I would just go with my favorite. But yeah,
And why vegan
I'm vegetarian, so we
or
eat
vegetarian? Sorry.
dairy and eggs. A pescatarian is the one that eats fish
Hmm.
and vegetarian, and vegan is the one that eats no eggs and no milk.
No
But
byproducts of
yeah,
animals.
no byproducts of animals, exactly. And there's even more stricter people than that, but I won't go into the whole
Yeah.
chart.
So what got you being a vegetarian?
My dad basically he thought it'd be healthier for me to be vegetarian. There's a lot of studies that is healthier for you to be vegetarian, as long as you're getting your protein, your vitamins, and just everything you need. So other than that, we're like pretty healthy people. The only thing that we lack sometimes is B12 because you mostly get that from fish and meat.
Hmm.
But I take B12 supplements. So yeah, I mean, I like it. At first, when I was a kid, I was like, "Oh, my dad's controlling my life." But as an adult, seeing what they're doing to animals, the GMOs, the chemicals, the just the environment they're in, I wouldn't eat meat even if I had a choice now. I have been curious, but it's not worth it for me.
I did vegetarian for like 3 months. Um, Definitely finding what to eat was hard,
Hmm.
and I did not like the whole like trying to make vegetarian food taste like meats.
Hmm.
I didn't like the whole thing. I didn't, one, it didn't taste like it, and second, the whole point was not to supplement it with taste, but just to avoid it. So like, I found myself going like making myself a lot of wraps, And then I just couldn't find stuff to cook. I didn't understand how to go about it. So a lot of times I would just go. I tried the bullshit vegan burgers. There probably is some good ones, but I didn't like. The only ones I could find were the ones that were supposed to taste like another meat or taste
Hmm.
like a meat, and I just didn't care for it. So I did a lot of wraps, a lot of salads. Um, what I did like, and I still continue, is especially when like I don't want to make a meal, is I'll just buy apples and oranges and just eat that. You'd be surprised you do get full, and then a lot of times like just water, drinking water with that stuff, like you realize that you don't have to eat that much. And your stomach starts shrinking. I remember I lost quite a bit of weight, and it wasn't like unhealthy. I didn't look all sucked up. I just like my stomach got a little bit flatter.
Hmm.
My boobs got smaller, and then definitely like around my face. I did feel younger, more like agile, and I stopped snoring.
Hmm.
It was a lot of stuff that changed, but my roommate just makes really good food, and um, just got off the wagon, I guess, as I say. And then um, I do have more respect for food. I try not to like overeat. And one of the biggest things that really got me considering it was when I was in college, I bought some chickens.
Hmm.
And I bought some chickens. They're called like Rockefeller or something. And they get huge. They look as big as turkeys.
Hmm.
Um, but what I noticed is like after I cooked them, they were even as big as they were nowhere as big as the pieces of portions you get when you go to like a butcher shop or when you go to
Hmm.
KFC. They do not get that big. And so to know that that's probably like one of the biggest species, and yet when I go and buy some drumsticks or a bucket or something, like they are definitely getting pumped up with stuff. And then as I got into like owning chickens, I started looking more into like what breeds to buy because I wanted the ones with the feathers on their feet and stuff.
Fancy
And
chicken.
so many, I wanted all the colors. And then I found out about like the different eggs that they lay that have different colors. I thought that was also cool. But what ended up happening was I just appreciated it more. So like I found myself like wanting to make sure I made a nice meal when I killed one and I ate it. Also that I ate it. Um, um, just it's a lot different when you kill the animal you eat. You definitely have more respect for it, and you also have a better idea of like the shit I'm eating at these fast foods can't be.
Yeah.
They just can't be good for you. The Foster Farm chickens, like they sell those.
Hmm.
And those things, man, once they hit a certain age, like they collapse on themselves. They can't even walk.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's really sad.
it's super wild that's a thing.
Hmm.
Um, and even like the propaganda that they give you, like oh, free range. That sounds cool, but what does that even mean?
Yeah.
And it just means that they have like a ratio of space per like the pen that they're in.
Hmm.
It doesn't necessarily mean that they're out like on a range and they're like free and then they come nighttime and all the chickens come back. No, they're still being fucking abused and injected with shit just to keep them alive, and
That makes sense.
it's wild. Um, do you do any kind of like activism when it comes to animals?
Um, I want to do more. When it comes to that, when it comes to GMOs and the things they're doing to animals, but sadly people don't give up meat. So it's kind of hard to talk about it because I know my dad's very stubborn. I've seen it firsthand that when it comes to meat, stubborn people. Ugh.
Do you believe in aliens?
Uh, I don't know. I feel like it's a possibility. But there's so many plants out there, so many things in culture where it proves the point that we have aliens. So I think there's a big possibility. But when it comes to like them coming to Earth, I don't know because I feel like we have nothing for them.
Um, I know you touched on the goth thing. Is it like, are you religious in any way?
I'm spiritual a little bit.
More spiritual?
Yeah, I'm more spiritual.
Like, as in, like, just, like trying to have harmony with stuff, or like more like, you believe in like a higher being, a creation, or,
I believe So basically, I do want to do some more projects coming up. I want to work with photographers and get like really cool shoots. Like I just did a laundry shoot, like in a laundromat,
I saw that one.
and that one really blew up. So I want to do more creative shoots. I have ideas coming up. Be working with some photographers, some old, some new, and that's basically what I want to do. Right now, I'm in the process of moving soon, so that's going to be a big thing for me. And then I'll probably get back out there into the scene. So I'm really happy about so far all the opportunities that have came up, and hope the more opportunities hit me.
And then move is just here locally. You're moving or out of town?
Yeah, I'm moving here locally. It's me and my best friends moving together.
Okay. Are they into the scene as well?
Yeah, she's really big golf. Like she's really big into golfs and like the politics and like everything like that. So yeah, and I
Um,
love her to death.
what are some of like those ideas that you have?
Hmm?
What are some of those ideas you have for like the photo shoots you want to do?
I want to do like those ones in like the backseat of a car. I want to do one that is I don't ever seen of black ink shoots where they're covered in black ink.
Hmm.
That sounds like a cool topic. I love doing blood shoots. I'll probably another blood shoot coming up. Um, any ideas photographers have too. I'm always down for new concepts. Um, but yeah, right now that's what I'm looking for. And then maybe even like something more risky, like I forget what it's called, but when you tie people up in rope, it starts at S. Shibaru?
Shibari.
Yeah, like one of those shoots. I feel like that would be kind of cool.
That's something I've wanted to do, but it's not as easy as people think. It's very much one. It's not fast, so it's not like they're gonna just tie you up. It's not like throwing on a jumpsuit, right? It's
Hmm.
it's it's patient, so you definitely don't want to be have any food poisoning. So, sorry, and so you definitely don't want to feel any like understand that you're gonna be tied for quite a while. And one thing for all those people out there who want to try it, please, 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 please be sure that you trust the person tying you up,
Hmm.
because once you're tied up, you are tied up.
Hmm.
So like the very valid the things that you said, not only that the person not be creepy, but that that someone can vouch for them, and that it there's a line, right, where there's maybe sexualizing somebody for the purpose of the shoot or the angle or just the theme,
Hmm.
but understand that it also is a kink, and not to take it to that point, especially if that
Hmm.
person's not comfortable with that. So one thing that comes with it is you definitely have to be outspoken, and then the person tying you, in most cases, I would say, will ask you like what it is you're comfortable with,
Hmm.
and then also trying to understand like your body as well, to not cut circulation, not do any nerve damage. Um, it's not for everybody. I would say if you like a heavy blanket,
Hmm.
you might like it. If you are someone who feels a little lonely, you might like it. It's very much about like pressure. And so like also you're very much trusting somebody, right? Again, they're tying you up, you're vulnerable. And for some people that's a very like nice relationship, someone having that power over somebody, and then the other person giving up, that power. So
Yeah.
there's a spectrum of it, and I think for photo shoots you definitely want to make sure that the person is aware of that.
Hmm.
And also, if that person's not into that or doesn't feel comfortable, there are certain ties that you can do that are not so like
Restricting.
not so restricting and more about aesthetic than it is any
Hmm.
type of like the word is escaping me, but we're not being like suspended. Um,
Hmm.
Suspension is very, 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 very dangerous. It is not to be taken lightly. People, if you do not know what you're doing, I don't do suspension. Um,
Hmm.
Most of it because I haven't had any formal training on it, and I would hate to like assume that I'm doing it right.
Hmm.
Um, because if a knot slips, off your shoulders, it'll choke. You could get choked.
Mhm.
and the only way to take it off is to go through each rope or to cut it. So you definitely want to have like some scissors or something, because especially when it comes to suspension. I've done it for a while. I've even gone to like Japan to take classes with. How I got into it was I saw I believe he goes by Jaime. I'm probably messing up his name, but he's a Japanese rope artist, and it was like a red velvet rope that he had, and he had these women suspended on like a wall of a gallery, and
Mhm.
it looked like almost like a spider web, and there were like the flies that got collected. It was so fucking dope, man. And I just was like, that's fucking, I never seen something like that. And then I got really into it where I saw people like roping objects like
Mhm.
trees, chairs, and I just started getting obsessed with it. And it's not for everybody. I've had, um, for context, my roommate is my old partner, and
Mhm.
so we split, but like we have no interest in anyone else. I guess is weird. We don't really
Mhm.
want to date anybody. We're kind of like done, but we're also kind of done with each other. So we live together. We get along,
Yeah.
and it's like whatever. But even she did not want to be tied up. Not it was like not a trusting. It's just she wasn't into it,
Yeah.
and so um, um, that would be my 2 cents. About like
Mhm.
if you find anybody who's willing to do that, definitely trust the person and be safe. Don't just kind of end up at some guy's house doing a podcast and like no, I say it just joking, but yeah, you definitely don't want to like put yourself in a situation like that.
Mhm.
But it is fun, and then there are a lot of like aesthetic ties. Again, they just take a long time, especially if you get into like the multiple ropes, the multiple colors. And I'll go on a rant, but I don't I don't know. Like this one is it's not used.
Mhm.
This is jute on catch. That's jute rope.
That's pretty cool.
Actually, that I believe that's bamboo, and this is jute.
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
not used; they're clean.
I would hope not.
And then like
And
these are for
something
like suspension, and it could be multiple. It could be for suspending. It could also be like a brace or a back brace or something.
definitely didn't think that would be like something that I would see in person right today.
Yeah. So jute brown,
Mhm.
green is hemp, and then
Okay.
this is bamboo. Sorry, I bought them different colors because they almost feel the same.
Yeah, mostly the same. I have volunteered and been tied up before. That was fun, but it is very tight.
Yeah.
It's very suspenseful. Yeah, I'll hand it back to you. Grab all day.
So that's cool that you want to do something like that.
Mhm.
But that's cool that you say you've done it too. Where did you go, or how did you come about that?
Bar Sinister in LA. Yeah, upstairs is like a dungeon. You could
Oh,
sign up
okay,
for
yeah,
free
yeah,
to
yeah.
get tied up. So yeah, and they're professionals, so you're in good hands, you know.
Yeah, that's good. It's hard, especially out here. Maybe how you feel about the grunge scene is probably how I feel about like the rope scene. It's very sexualized, and
Mhm.
I am very into like the aesthetic part of it,
Mhm.
um, and that makes it very hard. So
Mhm.
like, I remember when I went to Japan, and they were like, "Oh, get on fetish, fetish.com, I think something like that."
Fetish finder.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I was on it for like a week. I jumped on it and it just got so fucking weird, and it was nobody was in it for the aesthetic of it. Everybody was into it like it was their kink, and I think that's just what you got to deal with and figure out. Um, can you do an outro, and then where can people find you? The outro is just some like positive message, I guess.
The only thing I can really say at the end of the day is do what you love, do what makes you happy. You know, I found modeling, it makes me happy. And don't care about other people think. It is scary at first when you first do something. You're gonna care a lot about what people think, especially if you have social anxiety, which I suffer with. But my fashion makes me happy. Going out like this makes me happy, and I still feel anxiety, But once you get used to it, it's so freeing, and it's so freeing not to care what people, you know, what care people would think. Care what people think.
And then if people want to follow you other than Instagram, do you have any other things? I only found your Instagram and your like threads were like the
Yeah.
only thing I came across.
Well, my Instagram, Grunge Caramel, and my TikTok, Grunge Caramel. And that's all I have. I don't have anything else, which I get asked a lot. I get asked if I have the blue one all the time. Or X. I don't have X either. Twitter. I don't have any of those.
I yeah,
And I
I
don't
can
have
see people
Facebook,
asking
so
that.
like I don't have any of that. So, you only gonna find me on Instagram and TikTok. Everything else, I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressures to have like websites and like I think what I've seen, I think it works pretty good. Other than like investing into websites, is the tree link,
I like that
where you
one.
can kind of jump to different stuff and then you can like stack up your social media. It seems like pretty fast, especially when I have someone I need to interview and I need to kind of learn about them really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Because mostly, like I said, it's not like I know a lot about all my guests. It's
Mm-hmm.
I just see them all the time and I'm just like, I don't have any time. And it almost kind of seems like not the same groups. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's easier to like do a podcast and meet someone and learn a little bit about them. But the tree is like the link tree is very like quick to like get as much information about somebody. So yeah, I think that's why people ask for it more. I mean, the blue one is different. But as far as like more social is just to like see where you put your stuff and what you're into. There's a guy called Cut 'em Films. I interviewed
Mm-hmm.
him and I looked at his stuff and then I was like, hey man, you haven't posted nothing in like 14 years. And I saw that you're doing this show. So that's why I wanted to interview you because it's a local show. And he goes, no, I've been doing music videos and movies, short films. I was like, where the fuck are you posting it? He goes, oh, on this other thing. And I was just like, well, you're not linking it, bro. I'm not like, I would have never found that shit.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why people ask, because not everybody's like
Open about.
savvy, not savvy to like put it all together. You know, some people are just kind of winging it, just giving shit a try in life and they learn as they go. So sometimes people just assume that you haven't linked it, especially with like music. Sometimes I find people that they don't have their SoundCloud, and then you find their SoundCloud, and you're like, "What the fuck?" All right. Well, I appreciate you coming out. Unfortunately, you don't feel so well. I'll edit all that
Okay.
out, though. Don't worry about it. Nobody will know. Cool. Appreciate you.
Yeah.